1-833-496-5441 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5441.
It's time to make your car an endurance car.
Big city crimes in small town America. Heartland Homicide. Next.
Nashville, Michigan, October 3rd, 1985. It happened on a fall night like any other. Except for one thing. Rodney Fancher is about to take his last breath.
This is a small town. Things like this don't happen here.
The hunt for an unknown killer begins, leaving investigators desperate for clues.
Who's he running with? Who's he dealing with? Is he involved in criminal activity himself?
As the web of the crime slowly begins to untangle, the truth behind the murder is far more disturbing than anyone imagines.
Somebody's going to get hit tonight.
Nashville, Michigan. Population 1,684. A quiet town 2 hours west of Detroit, but one that feels like a lifetime away. Once the record holder for the world's longest ice cream sundae. A town where everyone knows each other, where residents keep their doors unlocked. A town where murders don't happen. 40 minutes east of Lansing, Michigan. 24-year-old Rodney Fancher, on leave from the Army, lives with his mother, Mary. Mother and son reside in the nicest home on Beulah Street, in one of Lansing's toughest neighborhoods. Rodney occupies his days job hunting, tending to his mother, and looking after the house. Yet it isn't all work and no play for Rodney as someone next door catches his eye. Next door to the Fanchers, in a cluttered, shabby house, are the Bouchard family. Matriarch Anna, Anna's youngest daughter, Cora, Cora's two young sons, and, occasionally, Anna's eldest daughter, Peggy, along with her husband, Harold Snake Stevens.
Their next door neighbors fell in love, started dating anyway, and then he had to go do another tour. When he came back, they started getting very serious at that point. So when the opportunity presented himself, Rodney moved in. It was quite a group of people in a very small house, quite frankly.
After the loss of their 14-month-old daughter, Peggy and Harold moved back in, attempting to cope with the tragedy.
Peggy and Harold had been living in Arizona, and they moved back closer to home to be with family after suffering their loss.
Still grieving, Peggy and Harold find solace in Cora's two young children, their nephews, Brian and Brad, with Harold taking an exceptional liking to young Brian. Harold sees Brian as a totem of what could have been. He sees him as another chance to be a father.
Cora had a 6-year-old son and a 2-year-old son, I believe it was, at the time. So Rodney assumed the role as a father there because the father was not around. But before Rodney showed up, Harold Stevens and Peggy Stevens were the ones that kind of looked after young Brian and developed a real good relationship with him. That's where the problem began.
Cora's $500 a month child payments and her part-time job with the National Guard go towards the bills for the little house on Beulah Street. As Anna, Peggy, and Harold are all on welfare. But after months of living in tight quarters, and with Rodney finding the odd job here and there, the young couple decide it's time to move out. Rodney is always on the hunt for work. So when a call comes from a man named Rich Hoover, looking for someone to help him unload a truck, he jumps at the chance. Rodney asks Hoover where he found his name and phone number. Hoover tells him that it was posted on a work wanted bulletin board at a truck stop in the city. Rodney asks the Bouchards if they know anything about his name up at the truck stop. And Anna says she and Peggy put it there to help him out. Rodney is not thrilled with the actions of his in-laws, but is grateful for the chance to prove himself. With tensions running high in the household, Peggy and Harold plan a trip to Bay City, Michigan, an hour and a half north of Lansing, to visit a friend and to take on a job of their own, delivering a trailer down to Florida. Though employed in the Eaton Intermediate School District, Harold has issues holding down employment, so a quick job comes as a relief to him and Peggy. On the night of October 3rd, 1985, Rodney leaves the Bouchard home in Lansing, says goodbye to his mother, and meets Hoover at a bar in Otterville, Michigan, 20 minutes outside the city.
That's the last time anyone sees Rodney Fancher alive.
Rodney pulls into the bar's quiet parking lot, spotting Hoover's truck under a burnt-out lamppost, tucked away from the other vehicles. Rodney carefully approaches, peering into the shadows within. A hand emerges from the darkness, beckoning Rodney inside. Hoover lures Rodney with the promise of $80 for one evening's work to help unload a truck. Rodney doesn't know where the truck is, only that Hoover insists that they take one vehicle and leave Rodney's behind. Rodney engages Hoover as they drive, discussing the job and wages. Rodney tells Hoover about his family, about Cora, Brian, and Brad. He tells the man how grateful he is for the work, and that he's been saving up to rent an apartment with his fiancée. A place that they can start fresh, a place to call their own. The two men drive on, finding themselves in Nashville, Michigan, as the evening descends. Rodney becomes uneasy and asks Hoover if they're approaching the truck. Hoover says nothing. Hoover brings the truck to a stop down a deserted gravel road, then asks Rodney for his help moving something in the back. Rodney Fancher, the 24-year-old father of two, steps out into the night at the bequest of Rich Hoover, unaware of the fate that awaits him. But why did Rich Hoover shoot Rodney?
For whoever did this to Rodney, it was up close and personal. After they kill him, they roll his body into a ditch and leave him there like a piece of roadside trash.
Is your body telling you something? Well, there are more than 50 million Americans living with joint pain from aging, exercise, overuse, which means it could be affecting you or someone you love. The good news is you don't need to live in pain. Pain is manageable and it's controllable. That's why there's Omega XL, a powerful joint pain relief supplement. And Omega XL could change your life. Just ask anybody who uses it. These are real people that have had some real results.
My husband says it's a big difference. He wants to know, what did I take? Omega XL. My name is Helen, and I was an EMT for 20 years in New York City. We never knew what call we were going to get, but I was one of the first responders for the plane on the Hudson. The job was very tough, and it really put a burden on my body. I could not walk, not even half a block. My sister finally told me, try Omega XL. I ordered it, and now, last week, I walked 6 blocks. I was so proud of myself. It's been the best thing that I did because it relieves a lot of pain. This product is the best thing. These tiny pills that you take will be a miracle for your body. You will remember what did it to you, and it was Omega XL.
It's natural. It's drug-free. It's really small, easy to swallow. It has over 35 years of clinical research supporting it.
Omega XL is really in a class all its own. It has over 35 years of clinical research that show that it helps with joint pain and muscle soreness due to exercise, aging, and everyday activities. And it can even help respiratory health.
Our investigation has shown us the truth on Omega XL. If you're in pain, I want you to know that there is real hope out there. I'm living proof. You've trusted me for the last 40 years. And if you're experiencing joint pain, I'm asking you to trust me now. I'm taking Omega XL because it works for me. And if it didn't, I wouldn't be backing it.
Try Omega XL today. Pick up your phone and call the number at the bottom of the screen right now for a special offer. Buy 1 bottle of Omega XL and get 1 free. Plus, you'll also receive a bottle of Vitamin XL D3 absolutely free. Buy 1, get 2 free. A value of more than $100. Call today and you pay only $39.95. That's a savings of more than 60%. Plus, it's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee.
Try Omega XL and see the difference it can make in your life.
Order it. It's good for you.
Call or go online right now to get this special offer. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95. Call now.
I had lost about 50 pounds and kind of stalled. And then a friend had said, you ought to look at Weight Watchers Clinic. The combination of Weight Watchers and weight loss medication has changed my life. It's a different body, a different world.
Spot Pet insurance plans help pet parents focus on the moments that matter and worry less about unexpected vet bills. From puppyhood and beyond, Spot can cover up to 90% of eligible vet visits. Visit spotpet.com to get a free quote.
Nashville, Michigan, a quiet town of over 5.6 square kilometers with a population of 1,500. Nashville is quintessential small-town America, from its rolling farmlands to its many back roads. But on the night of October 3rd, 1985, everything changes when Rodney Fancher is murdered in cold blood.
The Fanchers and the Bouchards lived in Lansing, Michigan, but Potterville, they never had anything like this going out there, and then all of a sudden it's on the map. This is where the abduction, if you will, took place. And probably wasn't an abduction at gunpoint, because actually what happened was Fancher got in the car voluntarily, expecting to go on load trucks. So they don't really have an abduction anyway, but the whole thing was put in the beginning was there in Potterville. So, it's a small community. So it's like all of a sudden they're part of this action. And then you've got Nashville, like 25 miles down the road, where Fancher's body is found. So all of a sudden they're like, wow. People in the rural counties that we're speaking of, Berry County in this case, Michigan, and Eaton County, and it's impacted on them. That's big news. That's the discussion in coffee shops and the bars and that type of thing.
On the outskirts of Nashville, where miles separate the nearest neighbors, a local farmer notices something strange. He approaches the site, thinking he's uncovered an injured animal. Instead, he stumbles upon the discarded body of Rodney Fancher.
A civilian found the body laying in the woods next to a road. The sheriff's department called out, handled the scene that day, and through their checking, they learned about the Potterville and then involved our department at that time. So we initially had like 4 departments working on this case: Eaton County Sheriff's Department, the Berry County Sheriff's Department, Potterville Police, and the State Police at the Lansing Post. I was not at the scene. I do know from the report, or from the memory, that he was murdered. The ME determined within 24 hours.
The quiet town is now abuzz with the news of Fancher's murder. But the small police force is ill-prepared for a case like this. Still, investigators flock to the scene, quickly taking note of what appears to be the possible cause of death. A point-blank shotgun wound to Rodney's chest.
Unfortunately, his body was already in an advanced state of decomposition within that short 24-hour time period. He was in a ditch with outside elements such as rain, wind, heat, and those factors of the environment will increase the process of a decomposition. And within a 24-hour period, you can get like a black, blue, bloated, and very discolored face and body that are actually unrecognizable. So the importance of using other terms like his identifier of his fly tattoo that is very unique and on a specific part of his body that a loved one can view will help in determining that it is a positive identification.
Investigators also determine there are no signs of a struggle. Rodney's body doesn't appear to have any defensive wounds. Upon searching his remains, it's discovered that Rodney still has his keys and wallet in his possession. It becomes very clear quickly that this is not a robbery gone wrong. No, this is intentional. Meanwhile, at the Bouchard house, Cora is seeking answers. Rodney has yet to return home from the night before. Aware that he's made arrangements to meet with Hoover at the bar in Potterville, Cora takes matters into her own hands. She calls the bar, hopeful that Rodney is there. That maybe he overdrank and did the responsible thing by sleeping in his truck. The bartender tells Cora that there's a similar-looking truck in the parking lot, but they're unsure if anyone's in it. That's all Cora needs to hear. She hangs up and dials the police, wishing for the best, but preparing for the worst. Police rush to the bar where they find the truck. Investigators make a note of the license plate and radio it in. Dispatch quickly confirms the truck belongs to Rodney. With this discovery, Cora's worst fears come true.
It does not appear to be robbery. Okay, he's targeted. Who wants to target him? So you start performing what we call victimology, doing a background on Rodney in this case to determine who's he running with, who's he dealing with, is he involved in criminal activity himself? Has he been seeing someone else's wife? You got to go that route basically and start identifying possible suspects.
With his body in decomposition, investigators show Cora the one identifiable piece left of Rodney. When Cora sees his housefly tattoo, the world crumbles around her. Investigators speak with Cora, who's still in shock from the murder of her fiancé. She tells them that she has no idea who could have done such a thing to Rodney. That he's a good man with a good heart. He has no enemies that she knows of. Police then speak with Anna Bouchard, who tells them that a man named Rich Hoover hired Rodney for a quick job unloading a truck. And that Hoover got Rodney's information from a work wanted bulletin board at a truck stop in South Lansing.
The day he left with his killer at the Blinker Lake Bar, he came from his work job to his mother's house where he showered up and then took off to the Blinker Lake Bar to meet the person who eventually killed him.
Cora confirms her mother's story, but tells investigators that Rodney isn't the one who placed his information there. Anna Bouchard and Peggy Stevens did. When the call comes from Rich Hoover looking to pay Rodney for an honest day's work, the young father of two jumps at the opportunity. But little does he know, it will be the last job he ever takes.
At that point, we have a name, Rich Hoover, the trucker supposedly used. So we're trying to run down some information on Rich Hoover, checking at the truck stop with Rodney Fancher's picture, asking employees, asking truckers, asking mechanics, things like this. Anybody know Rich Hoover? Anybody seen this guy here?
But nobody has seen Rodney or knows anyone named Rich Hoover.
Because no one observed Rodney Fancher at the truck stop posting a notice that he wanted work. Nobody observed anybody at that truck stop making that post. Nobody knew the name Rich Hoover. Didn't mean for sure that everything went down as it initially appeared to be, and that being that his name was up there.
The only suspect police have is a person by the name of Rich Hoover, but without any description of what he looks like or a location for him, they really have nothing else to work with.
As the investigation ramps up, the search to find the mysterious Rich Hoover begins. But several questions remain. Who is Rich Hoover? And what role does he play in Rodney Fancher's murder?
There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, ride your bike. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, smile big and bright.
Thousands of kids just like me are happy every day.
And it's all because of generous people like you who support Shriners Hospitals for Children every month.
All you have to do is call the number on your screen or go online to loveshriners.org right now with your monthly gift.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me. If you're happy and you know it, dance around. If you're happy and you know it, play a song.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, take a shot.
And when you call or go online right now to donate $19 a month or more, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of all the smiles you're bringing to kids' faces every day.
Will today be the day you send your love to the rescue?
When you call the number on your screen right now and give as little as $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you'll be making a life-changing difference for a child, just like Sarah.
Your monthly gift today could change your life forever.
Because of you.
We are happy and we know it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please call or go online right now to give. If operators are busy, Please wait patiently or go to loveshriners.org right away.
With Chime, I get to decide when I get paid. It's kind of crazy. We can't choose when we get paid. Chime changed that for me. My pay lets me get up to $500 of my pay when I need it. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. My pay gives me the freedom to handle anything that life brings. I have big goals, and I'm not waiting for payday anymore. And you shouldn't either. That's why I Chime. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
Coming up next on True Crime Network. 24-year-old Rodney Fancher has been murdered, and police are on the hunt for a man named Rich Hoover, with whom Rodney had been traveling to a job site. A crime scene with a severe lack of evidence leads investigators from the Michigan State Police, Eaton and Berry County Sheriff's Departments, and the Potterville Police to join together to help bring a murderer to justice. Police circulate Rodney's photo to employees and patrons of the bar in Potterville where he was last seen. Truck drivers and restaurant workers at the truck stop where Rich Hoover allegedly retrieved Rodney's information. But no one recognizes Rodney, and no one knows who Rich Hoover is.
We see a lot of situations where strangers are perpetrating a crime, but more often than not, it's somebody who knows the victim. Maybe they don't know him directly, but indirectly they do. They're down the street, or they're related, or they're in business where there's some kind of connection to the victim. It's not random.
Rodney's mother, Mary, tells police that her son is a good man, that he's been trying to secure a stable life for him and his family. She believes the murder wasn't random. She believes it was a setup, a grudge job. But who holds a grudge deep enough against Rodney to want him dead? Investigators press Rodney's girlfriend, Cora, on Mary's statement. Cora mentions that Rodney and her brother-in-law, Harold Stevens, did not get along, but doesn't believe he or anyone in her family is capable of committing murder. Police speak with Peggy and Harold Stevens. The couple went out of town the night of the murder, and their alibi is confirmed by their friend, James Oswald, whom they stayed with in Bay City, Michigan, before taking on a job delivering a trailer down to Florida.
Sure, they have an alibi. They just happen to be out of town in the days leading up to the murder. The timing of this all seems just a little too convenient, given the history between Rodney and Harold.
Police search for a break in the case. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. With a lack of witnesses and evidence, the case turns cold.
One of the most difficult things for an investigator at this point is the feeling that you're potentially letting the family of the victim down. They just want closure.
A lot of times you're waiting on information that you want to get before you take the next step. You want to maybe conduct an interview with somebody, but really you want to get some information before you talk to them. You want to have all your ducks in line. And so when you apply for that information, either in front of a search warrant or you're waiting for someone else to step forward and give you some information, somebody specific, well, you don't want to go to B before you dealt with A. Sometimes it gets dragged down a little bit. In this case here, with no information that is tied with any other homicides, it really looked like Rodney was targeted. And if you're being targeted, it's because generally somebody knows you. And I don't think we really figured at that time it was a hitman involved. You don't see that much. TV happens all the time, but you don't see that many times a hitman, or maybe in the drug culture, the drug world, you do. But not in Lansing, Michigan, or Charlotte and Nashville and all these places. No, you don't do that. So you think mainly it's going to be somebody that knows him, but he's gotten involved in something else and he's ripped somebody else off or something like that.
Investigators go back to the drawing board and examine the facts. Though he has no more than an 8th grade education and constantly struggles to hold down a steady job, Rodney promises Cora that he'll take care of her, that he'll give her and her 2 sons a better life, no matter what the cost. But Harold sees himself as a father figure to Brian and Brad, and decides there's no room in the boy's life for one more. Tensions are high in the small house, mainly between Rodney and Harold. Harold Stevens wants nothing more than to be a father to Cora's young sons, to have a chance at redemption, to be the father he believes he's destined to be. But when Rodney enters the picture, Harold's fantasy slowly begins to crack. Living off Cora's part-time salary and her $500 child welfare checks is enough for Rodney and Cora to begin searching for a home of their own, somewhere far away from the crowded house on Beulah Street. But the tension between Rodney and Harold isn't the only one about to boil over in the small house. Anna learns that Cora and Rodney are planning on moving out, and Anna doesn't want her daughter going anywhere.
Anna Bouchard became aware that Cora and Rodney Fancher were out apartment shopping. So at that point, Anna realized, I'm not real happy with my future son-in-law Fancher anyway. I've got my daughter Peggy and son-in-law Harold who definitely don't like him. And if Cora and Fancher move out to another apartment, there's a great loss of income.
Police question the Stevenses, who confirm the bad blood between Rodney and Harold, yet maintain their innocence. They're not killers. They reiterate their alibi. They visited a friend in Bay City the night of Rodney's murder. Then they traveled to Florida, taking on a job of delivering a trailer. Even though the Stevenses have an alibi, do they know more about Rodney's murder than they've let on? Or is Rodney's murder a case of a job gone wrong? Could a dispute about wages have sent Rodney to his grave? With all the facts that have come to light, 2 possible theories emerge. Scenario number 1. Rich Hoover, a hot-tempered man with a no-nonsense attitude, takes advantage of low-skilled workers looking for odd jobs, lowballing their worth for strenuous tasks. Hoover calls Rodney looking for a one-time job to help him unload a truck. They arrange to meet in the bar parking lot of a Potterville bar, with Hoover paying Rodney $80 for his services. Rodney agrees, then hangs up. He questions the fact that Hoover says he got his information from a truck stop bulletin board, which he didn't do. Anna admits she and Peggy did it to help Rodney out. Though he's upset with his in-laws, Rodney's excited at the prospect of earning his keep. Rodney meets Hoover at the bar the night of October 3rd, 1985. From there, the 2 men pile into Hoover's truck to head to the job site, leaving Rodney's vehicle behind. Rodney voices his concerns about the distance they've traveled and how long the job will take. He lets Hoover know that he expects to be paid more for his time. Hoover tells Rodney he won't pay him more than the agreed-upon amount, which causes the men to argue, with Hoover pulling over onto the side of the road in a rage. Perhaps Hoover exits the truck to cool down. Rodney watches from inside, unsure how to proceed. He decides to go talk to Hoover to calm the seas, but hot-headed Rich Hoover is waiting for Rodney when he steps out. He shoots Rodney in the chest at close range, killing him instantly. He then drags Rodney's lifeless body into the ditch, leaving him for nature to consume. Or is it, in fact, the second possible scenario? Is Rich Hoover nothing more than an alias? A man invented to throw investigators off the scent of the true murderer? Peggy and Harold Stevens have an alibi for the night of Rodney's murder. But given the toxic relationship between them and the Stevens' desire to be like parents towards Cora's children, did Peggy and Harold hire someone to kill Rodney? Is it possible the Stevenses want Brian all to themselves, so they recruit a hitman to murder Rodney? Did they meet at a bar in Potterville and devise a plan? The hitman calls Rodney, pretending to be Rich Hoover, asking Rodney to help him with the job. The Stevenses know Rodney's situation. They count on him to accept the offer, and he does, sealing his fate.
Rodney and Cora seem to have their future mapped out for them. They plan to move out together and live as a family.
Rodney meets with who he believes is Rich Hoover at the bar in Potterville. From there, the two men pile into the truck and head to the job site. As Rodney and the unidentified man drive, the man grabs a joint and begins to smoke, offering some to Rodney, who gladly accepts. Did the driver stop his truck on a deserted gravel road, telling Rodney he needs to grab more weed from the back? But there is no pot, only a sawed-off shotgun. The man eyes the gun, then calls out for Rodney's help. And when Rodney exits the vehicle, he's greeted by his killer, pointing a sawed-off shotgun square at his chest. But if this is how the crime occurs, who is the unidentified man that the Stevenses hired?
At DriveTime.com, we've been hard at work, and we finally did it.
Did you make it so I can finally shop at thousands of cars with no hit to my credit?
Wait, yes! Go to DriveTime.com, get approved with no credit hit!
Go to DriveTime.com, get approved, and shop your real terms with no credit hit.
Hi, it's Christina again. Is your shower trying to tell you something? Is getting in and out of the bathtub becoming a safety concern? Are you worried about the cost of a bathroom remodel that could go on for weeks and weeks? Well, now you can have a gorgeous new bath or shower that's safer at a price you can afford with a one-day jacuzzi bath remodel. And now they're bringing you this special TV offer. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for up to 1 year. Jacuzzi bath remodel has a design you'll love at a price you can afford.
Literally, they came in the morning, did the demolition, and installed our bathtub in 1 day. I definitely wish we called jacuzzi a lot sooner.
Okay, so tell me, what are the two most common reasons people are calling jacuzzi bath remodel right now?
Well, maybe they're just tired of the old, worn-out eyesore of a bath. Often they have dated colors, tiles that might be cracking and fading, or impossible to clean grout. Christina, did you know that the average shower has up to 300 linear feet of grout?
Honestly, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of scrubbing. So that's definitely one of the reasons people call. And you'll love that the new bath or shower just rinses clean and resists mold and mildew. Now, another big reason people call is they've been feeling uneasy stepping over that tub to take a shower. And we're here to help with a safer, more stylish shower that you'll love and is custom designed for you.
Every time I stepped over my old bathtub, I worried I might fall. I don't have those fears anymore. Jacuzzi bath remodel gave me a gorgeous shower that's safe too.
It was done the same day. We did not have to wait. It is amazing.
Time is running out to take advantage of this special offer. When you call right now, we're waiving all installation costs with our Christina Across America offer and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free, no-obligation, in-home design consultation. You can create your new bath or shower customized just for you, installed in just one day from the most trusted name with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Call now.
It's never been easier. Get your free design consultation, schedule your one-day installation, and start loving your new bath or shower right away.
You can go from this to this, and from this to this, or even from this to all this in just one day.
I did not like my bathroom before and was embarrassed by it. Yes. This is unbelievable. It is stunning. I can't believe it.
Time is running out to take advantage of this special offer. When you call right now, we're waiving all installation costs with our Christina Across America offer and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free, no obligation in-home design consultation. You can create your new bath or shower customized just for you, installed in just one day from the most trusted name with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Call now.
It's party time. I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
24-year-old stepfather of two, Rodney Fancher, has been murdered. But with limited evidence, no witnesses, and a suspect that can't be traced, the investigation is at a standstill. After months of searching and hundreds of unanswered questions, a surprising witness comes forth with some damning evidence, giving investigators the break they've been searching for.
The Stevensons take a trip to Bay City the day before Rodney's murder and stay with their friend, James Oswald. It was only when James Oswald phoned the police and provided that tip that everything fell into place.
James breaks down Peggy and Harold's visit. He and the Stevenses go to a nearby bar the night of Rodney's murder, where Harold acts strangely. Not soon after, Harold begins talking about an unnamed child abuser, one who's about to get picked up, bumped off, snuffed out.
We learn that there's a man named Jim Oswald, and Harold Stevens, he says to his friend, let's go to a bar where you are known, and that we can sit around and establish an alibi here because somebody's going to get hit tonight. A child abuser is going to get hit tonight.
Harold Stevens proposes a toast to the death of the abuser at exactly 8:30 p.m. on the night of the murder. He makes sure to point out the time to James Oswald. James notes this as being somewhat strange.
Cora denies that Rodney ever laid a finger on the children. James also mentions to police that he spoke with the Stevenses upon their return from Florida. When Harold came to purchase James's old motorcycle. When James tells Harold about the news of Rodney's passing, Harold tells James he expects the investigation to be a short one.
And they made some incriminating statements to Oswald at that point.
Yet, even with this new information, the question remains, if the Stevenses did in fact orchestrate Rodney's murder, then who did they hire to pull the trigger? While searching for the trigger man, police catch a lucky break when they pull the phone records of the Bushards and find several calls from an unidentified number that match the time when the supposed Rich Hoover rang. After some digging, investigators discover that the phone number is that of Tony Hill, an old friend and current co-worker of none other than Harold Stevens. Tony Hill, a janitor living in Charlotte, Michigan, is brought in for questioning. He tells investigators that Harold often discussed his troubles with Rodney, but that his friend isn't capable of murder. For his alibi, he He claims to have been at home the night of October 3rd, watching television. But with no one else to back up his claim, and his intimate knowledge of Harold Stevens' vendetta against Rodney, police keep Tony as one of their top suspects. James Oswald then reveals that he sold his motorcycle to Harold, who then passed it on to Tony as a down payment for the murder. But the biggest break yet comes from Peggy Stevens herself. She tells investigators everything in exchange for immunity.
Peggy Stevens is an eyewitness to this crime, which is a crucial piece of evidence to the prosecution. And so that's why, in a situation like this, where there's not a lot of other evidence linking the accused individuals, the police and the prosecution may be willing to cut a deal and offer someone immunity in exchange for that information.
Peggy's chain of events paints a horrifying picture as the case goes to trial, but nothing could prepare anyone for the truth. The Stevenses, still reeling over the loss of their 14-month-old daughter, take a special liking to Cora's eldest son, Brian, particularly Harold, who sees himself as a father figure to the boy. But all that changes when Rodney comes into the picture.
To them, Brian is like, it's my kid now because I'm helping raise them and we got a special relationship. And now this clown's coming in here and telling me we're no longer going to get to see him and we got rules we got to live by. You can get an idea maybe how much hatred had developed between them.
Harold feels that Rodney is trying to remove him from Brian's life. So Harold does everything within his power to make Rodney suffer, even claiming Rodney abuses the children, something Cora denies. When that doesn't work, the Stevenses opt to send Rodney a more serious message. At first, they discuss beating him up, but then decide they need to do something a little more permanent. Harold, who recently found work in the Eton Intermediate School Division with his friend, vents his frustrations to Tony, eventually convincing his friend to murder Rodney for $1,000. Knowing Rodney is desperate for work, Tony calls the Bushard house, pretending to be Rich Hoover, an alias created by him and the Stevenses. From there, the plot to end Rodney Fancher's life is set into motion. Tony allegedly purchases a shotgun, which is later retrieved by the investigators. The autopsy reveals that the plastic from Tony Hill's shotgun lodged itself into Rodney's chest. Police believe the case is solved. The Stevenses and Tony Hill are behind Rodney's murder. Both Stevens and Hill are arrested in late December 1985, almost 3 months after the crime's been committed. But soon after Peggy's first confession, she reveals a final accusation that changes everything.
Watch this. It's all 100% real. Witness what happens to this woman's bags under her eyes in an actual time lapse in just minutes. Nothing has been doctored or tampered with. The very real problem will disappear before your eyes and hers with a revolutionary topical formulation that works in just minutes, and the effects will last for hours and hours. Over 1 million people are using this topical technique to visually reduce puffiness and bags. It works on sagging jowls, even fine lines and wrinkles on the face and forehead. Introducing Plexiderm. In just minutes, you can restore and beautify your face, even look years younger. And the look will last all day or all evening.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm just in love with the mirror right now.
Jump on board and say yes to this amazing $14.95 Prove It Plexiderm trial. You'll see why our customers describe Plexiderm with 3 words. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Order right now. We'll pay your shipping. Operators are standing by.
Introducing the new Weight Watchers app. I've lost 60 pounds and I can still enjoy all of the foods that I love.
Small changes lead to big results. Weight Watchers' new app features can make your weight loss journey easier. So all you gotta do is you. Join Weight Watchers today.
The only thing I don't like about payday is waiting for it. Chime lets you get up to $500 of your pay whenever you need it. There's no interest, no credit checks, no mandatory fees. I'm not waiting for payday anymore, and you shouldn't either. Join me at chime.com and get paid when you say.
What's up, guys? I'm Scott Disick, and welcome to my home. Meet Hotel Collection's Studio Scent Diffuser. I recently started using their scent diffuser here in my Hidden Hills home, and this is a must-have product. Their hotel-inspired scents make my place always smell like a luxury 5-star hotel. I don't know about you, but having a home that smells this good is priceless. Check out hotelcollection.com to make sure your house is always smelling good too.
Thanks for my truck, guys. What's up, y'all? It's Luke Bryan here, and we're celebrating the 15th annual farm tour by giving one lucky winner this 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500. Can I win it? Get entered to win this truck plus tickets to the shows in the One Country app or at onecountry.com.
Looking for affordable and stylish kids' shoes? Go to fabkids.com. Kids are obsessing over this style right now. I love the cute pink stitch detailing. These might be my favorites, with quilted detail, the little buckles, the gold hardware. Look how fun these are. They light up. I wish I had these for myself. No fuss laces because there's an easy zipper on the inside. The quality for the price is amazing. Get shoes from just $5 plus free shipping only at fabkids.com.
Hey, True Crime Network viewers, we want your feedback. Take our quick survey and tell us which shows you like and dislike so we can make our network even better. Just visit truecrimenetworktv.com/feedback.
On a gravel road just outside of Nashville, Michigan, Tony Hill stops his truck, telling Rodney Fancher he needs to grab more weed from the back. While outside, Tony calls out for Rodney's help. But before Rodney realizes what's going on, he finds himself face to face with Tony Hill, a shotgun pointed square at his chest. Then, according to Peggy, Tony mutters the last words Rodney will ever hear.
Tony Hill tells Rodney, "This is for the way you treated Brian. This is the way Grandma wants things done."
Tony Hill, Peggy Stevens, and Harold Stevens are merely just puppets on a string in an elaborate plot put into motion by none other than Cora's mother, Anna Bouchard. With Peggy's testimony and the recovery of the murder weapon, it's enough to put Harold, Tony, and Anna away. All three receive life sentences for first-degree murder and conspiracy, with Anna and Tony both receiving an additional 30 to 60 years on the conspiracy charge. But there's still one more surprise in store. A mistrial during Anna's court appearance threatens the very fabric of the case.
An appellate court concludes that the circuit court judge erred by not allowing prior testimony to be read back to the jury in Anna's case, and that this could have potentially affected her right to due process. So Anna's conviction is overturned, and she's granted a second trial at which he can again argue that the prosecution has not proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
However, an unlikely witness takes the stand during Anna's retrial, her cellmate, Rhonda Howlett. Howlett tells the court that Anna confessed to everything during their stay in prison. She corroborates Peggy's version of the events down to a T. Anna Bouchard is hopeful that her second trial will change her life sentence, and her wish comes true, for the most part. Bouchard receives 2 life sentences instead of 1. Cora Bouchard claims Anna called her after her second trial, but not to ask forgiveness about her daughter and grandchildren. but rather about the little house on Beulah Street. A house once bursting at the seams with the laughter of children, now quiet and cold and empty. Rodney Fancher was a man with his whole life ahead of him, who wanted nothing more than to be a father and provide for his family. And a small town, 2 hours west of Detroit, one where things like this don't happen.
I love my funny bikes. Having a set of custom wheels gives kids like me and me the ability to do things I only dream of before. Through your support of Wheels for Love, Shriner Children is supplying custom-built adaptive bikes and wheelchairs for kids who dream of their first set of wheels.
For us, the bike is one of the most incredible experiences. The very first moment she had success.
You're doing a great job. Jaden received his bike from Shriners. I almost started crying because I never thought my son would be able to ride a bike at all.
When you go online to loveshriners.org or call this special number with your monthly gift, you'll make a difference too. And help kids like us do things we never thought we could do.
When you say yes to giving just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a reminder of all the kids you're helping every day. Call or go online right now to give. You'll be making sure our amazing doctors and nurses can keep helping kids who need them now and in the days to come. Because of you, I get the most amazing cheer anywhere. I can play basketball.
I can play soccer because of your support.
Thank you. Your support changes our lives. Your monthly gift right now at loveshriners.org makes moments like this possible for kids like me.
And me.
Thank you for giving. Help a kid get their first set of wheels. Let's roll. Join the movement. Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, call again. Or go to loveshriners.org to give right away. Thank you.
You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan if you are turning 65, have limited income, or you're moving. See how a WellCare Medicare Advantage plan could get you some big benefits, including this all-in-one WellCare Spendables debit card to use for over-the-counter health items. Find out how easy it is to get all of your original Medicare coverage plus extra benefits. You could have medical coverage, coverage for prescription drugs, dental, vision, and hearing, and the WellCare Spendables debit card to make getting the coverage you need more convenient. The WellCare Spendables debit card can be used for over-the-counter health items. And here's more good news. You can get a WellCare Medicare Advantage plan with a $0 or low monthly plan premium. How can WellCare offer all of those benefits for a $0 or low monthly plan premium? It's simple. Medicare Advantage and Medicare Part D prescription drug coverage are important parts of Medicare. WellCare has a contract with Medicare to offer and provide these important options to you. Call right now to get your free copy of the WellCare All-in-One Guide. Call 844-975-0005 now. There is absolutely no obligation for requesting this free information. WellCare offers benefits that go beyond the basics, and we make them easy to use so you can support your best health. Call a licensed sales agent to see if you are eligible to enroll today and get your free copy of the All-in-One Guide with absolutely no obligation. Your free guide will provide information to make a smart choice for your healthcare coverage. Just call 844-975-0005. Remember, there's no obligation for requesting this free information, so call 844-975-0005. Call today.
A better banking app is right at your fingertips. Download Dave, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No interest, credit checks, or late fees. Download the Dave app now, or go to dave.com today.
LitterRobot has now solved the litter box problem for over 1 million pet parents around the world. Hi, I'm Brad Baxter, founder of Whisker and LitterRobot. In 2000, we set up shop in the Midwest. Almost 25 years later, we've grown to over 600 employees with our assembly operations in Juneau, Wisconsin, and our headquarters in Auburn Hills, Michigan. I'm proud to say that every robot has been designed, assembled, and serviced right here in the USA with that quality and care that you and your pet deserve. Join the Whisker family and try a litter robot today.
Big city crimes hit small town America. Heartland Homicide. Next.
Kathy Ford answers a seemingly normal phone call on February 17th, 1988. What she doesn't know is that this phone call will have deadly consequences. No one in the town of Gorman expects something like this to happen in their community. This is the last time anyone will ever see Kathy Ford. Gorman, Maryland borders the sister town of Gormania across the Potomac River in West Virginia. Both towns are the quintessential American small towns, with 106 people living in Gorman and 133 in Gormania. Gorman is a safe haven for the community, named after former United States Senator Arthur B. Gorman. The majority of work in Gorman is in the mining industry. Events and attractions like the annual canoe races and Golden Trout festivals bring life into the small community. It's 1988, and the local hotspot is a local restaurant owned by the Ford family. Richard and Rosalie Ford moved their family of 6 from Wilmington, Delaware to the community of Gorman in 1984. It's been a successful venture for Richard and Rosalie. Business is great, and their children have flourished in Gorman, one of which is their 19-year-old daughter, Kathy, who still works with them at the restaurant. Kathy is a bright light in this town. Locals describe her as nice, well-liked, and sensible. Since the move, Kathy has found romance in the form of Darvin Moon, her boyfriend of 3 years.
Kathy Ford was probably a typical teenager. Then she fell in love with Darvin Boone, who was, I think, a few years older. And so she got into a relationship with him, and her whole world was right there in Gorman in that restaurant, her family.
One of the locals includes former Army veteran and newly promoted Deputy Sheriff of Grant County, Paul Farrell. Paul attended Southern High School, where he's a star athlete, excelling in boxing and basketball. Paul still helps his parents at their country store, which is across the river in the twin town of Gorman. He also has a trailer near the Stony River he visits from time to time. Kathy and Paul have bonded considerably since she moved to Gorman. Kathy wants to do bigger and better things, despite being trapped in Gorman because she has to help with the restaurant. Paul is sympathetic and a great companion to vent to. While both are in separate relationships, it is clear that they have a great connection.
She expressed a lot of desire to get out of it, but she was kind of trapped.
February 17th, 1988 begins like any other day. Kathy arrives at work, makes a pot of coffee, and prepares the restaurant for the day. As the morning goes on, something strange happens. A man, claiming to be a magistrate at Mount Storm in Grant County, calls and asks Kathy to meet him at 3 p.m. to answer some questions about some checks from the restaurant. He explains he believes they are dealing with check fraud. At around 1 p.m., the phone rings again. On the phone is an undercover cop. He informs Kathy that they are investigating the restaurant's liquor license. Several businesses in the area have been recently shut down for selling alcohol to minors. Kathy tells her mom to make sure she IDs every guest because of the call she just received. Her mother asks her who called. Kathy refuses to say. When pressured further by her mother, Kathy responds, "No, he'll lose his job." Kathy's shift is over. She leaves the restaurant to go home. Her mother asks Kathy where she is going repeatedly, but Kathy won't say.
Kathy leaves in a hurry, but she says she'll be back shortly.
Kathy received a phone call that day, and she answered it, and this other waitress, Pat Parker, she could hear the conversation, or at least Kathy's part of it, and Kathy finally said, "Who is this?" And so whoever it was told her some more, and then she hung up and told them that she had to go meet somebody.
Kathy returns to the restaurant around 2 p.m. in her father's car.
So she went over to her apartment and came back much better dressed. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange.
Pat asks where she's going, but Kathy again won't say. This is the last time Pat or any of her family or loved ones see Kathy alive.
Kathy's relative said she saw her Ford Bronco going north. That was the last anybody saw her.
When Kathy doesn't return home, her parents report her disappearance to the police.
For her parents to report her missing, even after only a few hours of not coming home, tells me that this is something unusual.
At 8:30 p.m., Paul Farrell joins his friends at a local bowling alley.
He drove up to Oakland to play in a bowling league that night, and all of a sudden he got a phone call. And it was Kathy. And she sounded very afraid. She said Darvin found out something about me. And I don't know if it was about her and Paul or something. And she said, I have to meet with you right away. Paul went back into the bowling alley and announced that he had to leave. And his teammates weren't real happy with that. But the bowling alley owner confirmed that he all of a sudden just said, hey, I got to go. He agreed to meet her at, I think, a school parking lot. So when he got there, nobody was there. So I thought, well, that's really weird. according to him, she wanted to get rid of Darvin Boone. She was terrified. She told some people she was afraid he was going to kill her because he had a horrific temper, apparently.
Paul waits for 20 minutes, but Kathy never arrives. Paul is shocked when he hears Kathy's disappeared. He has no idea she's reported missing earlier that night. A young woman has been taken. The thought that it's someone in the community haunts the public. The people of Gorman will have to live with these feelings for now because they need to focus on finding Kathy Ford. The day after Kathy's disappearance, the Ford's restaurant has now become ground zero for the search. Though distraught, Kathy's parents, Richard and Rosalie, are putting on brave faces. What matters most is finding Kathy. Along the tree line of Highway 50, local residents search for Kathy. Leading the search party, along with Officer Smith, is Paul Farrell. As a local resident and a deputy sheriff, he is trusted with the task. The Ford family feels they are in good hands with him, as he is well known and respected in the community.
Investigators who live and are from a small town often are more intimately aware of the environment. They know the people very well. They know the places that kids go and hide. They know all the nooks and crannies associated with that community. It's a luxury almost to have people in your law enforcement agency who are from that community.
2 days later, on February 20th, Paul's girlfriend, Kathy Bernard, asks if he's heard about Kathy Ford's disappearance. Paul is aware that Kathy is missing. He's concerned people suspect he has something to do with it. Kathy's car is last seen headed towards Mount Storm, where his trailer is located.
A guy named James Coon, who testified he was driving up the road, and Kathy Ford was in front of him in her Ford Bronco. This was on the day that she disappeared. And he saw her turn on to, I think it's Bismarck Road, which is the road that Paul's trailer was on. And so that was the last anybody supposedly saw her.
While cleaning up around his trailer, Kathy Bernard finds a note in one of Paul's pairs of pants. The note depicts two people setting up restaurants to sell alcohol to minors by using fake IDs. When Kathy questions him, Paul is concerned that someone around town is getting businesses to sell to minors. On February 26th, Paul and Officer Smith meet with Vonda Moreland, a concerned citizen, who wishes to assemble an official search committee. Both officers think it's a great idea. It's been 9 days since Kathy disappeared, and a dedicated search party would be very helpful. A young woman approaches Officer Smith. She describes a disturbing event that happens to her on the day of Kathy Ford's disappearance. Paul heads back to his trailer for lunch, where he discovers startling new information about the case. Then, he sees something off in the distance.
At drivetime.com, we've been hard at work. And we finally did.
Did you make it so I can finally see my real payments and shop at thousands of cars with no hit to my credit?
Wait. Yes!
Shop for cars online with no credit hit!
Look, there's a slidey thingy. I'm changing my own payments. I feel strong!
Go to drivetime.com, get approved, shop real cars, customize your road terms with no credit hit.
We did it, Drive Time!
Shop for cars online with no credit hit at drivetime.com.
Honey, you were so right. I listed this in less than a minute. I told you listing on Poshmark was quick and easy. Oh, I sold my black tote and my slip dress. Let's go get mani-pedis. Ooh, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Poshmark.
Want extra cash? It's easy with the Poshmark app. Download to start selling today.
Are you or a loved one between the ages of 50 to 80 years old? If you are younger than 80 years old, do you receive Social Security, disability, or Medicare? If you answered yes, you may qualify for $30,000 in funeral insurance for only pennies a day. The average funeral costs around $11,000, and Social Security only pays $255, leaving your loved ones to pay the balance. Call now to see if you qualify for $30,000 in funeral expense coverage from Senior Legacy Life. Your rate will never increase, your benefits will never decrease, and there is no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing disease or illness. Don't be a financial burden to your family. Lock in your rate by completing an application over the phone right now. Will you qualify for funeral insurance up to $30,000 for only pennies a day? Find out by calling Senior Legacy Life.
Call 1-800-300-3341 to speak with a licensed insurance agent. That's 1-800-300-3341.
Say hello to Litter Robot, the solution to the litter box problem for you and your cat. Never scoop again. With patented self-cleaning technology, Litter Robot separates clean litter from dirty clumps. Goodbye, litter box. Hello, Litter Robot.
True quality. Authenticity. It does not fear the passing of time. It's worth the search. Pirula.
I tried a bunch of different probiotics before seed.
And they didn't help. It addressed my bloating and my irregularity. It's really helping my daily bowel movements and keeping me pretty regular. I started feeling better and less bloated, felt flatter, lighter. I just keep going back to seed because it actually works.
Now I walk around smiling every day because I don't get bloated anymore.
There's an easier way to bank and get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave.
From the moment they join your family, you'll do everything possible to care for your best friend. Spot Pet Insurance helps pet parents focus on the moments that matter and worry less about unexpected vet bills. With plans that can cover up to 90% of eligible vet visits, Spot Pet Insurance has you covered from puppyhood and beyond. Your best friend makes every moment special. Spot is here to help ensure you'll have a lifetime of moments to celebrate together. Visit spotpet.com to get a free quote today.
Gorman, Maryland borders the sister town of Gormania across the Potomac River in West Virginia. Both towns are the quintessential American small towns, with 106 people living in Gorman and 133 in Gormania. These small towns are rocked by the tragic disappearance of 19-year-old Kathy Ford, a young woman with her whole life ahead of her. Members of the town have rallied together to search for Kathy Ford. Paul Farrell is leading the search for Kathy while also investigating the nature of her disappearance. The investigation is at a standstill, but when the police receive new information and Paul Farrell sees something that shocks him, the case is starting to heat up. Paul calls Vonda Moreland, asking if they can put a hold on the search for 48 hours, but she's unable to call off the search. Paul also requests that Bismarck and Cherry Roads be exempt from the search because evidence has been found near the intersection and he doesn't want it contaminated. And then a potential break in the case. A young woman around the same age as Kathy Ford tells the police about a phone call she receives the morning of Kathy Ford's disappearance. The man claims to be a magistrate and says he is conducting an investigation into someone she knows, telling her she needs to meet him at the Mount Storm Fire Hall to discuss it. When confronted about who he's investigating, the man becomes defensive and quickly ends the call. It turns out several women receive calls like this. all from a man claiming to be a magistrate.
They're two very distinctive sets of phone calls that are made. However, the recipients in all of them are women between the ages of 19 and 39. The first set of calls takes place between September 28, 1987 and the end of November of 1987. The recipients are all asked to meet at a location near Bayard Wilson Corona Road. The second set of calls takes place between February 1st, 1988 and the day that Kathy Ford disappeared. The circumstances are identical except the women are all asked to meet near Bismarck Road.
The number of women had been receiving phone calls. Nobody was ever hurt. They were just pranks.
The residents of Gorman are afraid of the new threat in their peaceful community.
The residents are nervous, and essentially they're hiding inside from a threat that really only revealed itself when Kathy Ford didn't return home.
Some optimistic evidence is delivered in the form of a letter on March 2nd, 1988. 14 days after Kathy's disappearance, the letter is addressed to Kathy's parents, Rosalie and Richard Ford Jr. The letter reads, "The only crime here is we had to get rid of the old man's Bronco right away. Kathy is 19, an adult, and we had to leave fast. We came into some dangerous money